Hello everybody and welcome back to Jake's RC Stuff. 3D printed things. What are those 3D printed things for? The Great Plains rifle. That is correct. So, I have been working on this, getting stuff done to it. I've basically been repairing a plane and working on a new plane at once. So, the Bixler and this have been my two at the moment. Bixler will be finished very soon. Move on to repairing something else. I'll probably class the Radjet as a repairing just to get it out of the workshop. Because everything else gets to sit in boxes, but with it being brand new, this thing is a pain in the arse sat about all over the place. So we'll get that carbon fibered up, and then it's a T-motor in the back of it. So let's start with this. Well, I started with putting the motor in, which was sort of the most simple thing to me. Now, if you don't know, we're actually running a bigger motor than what it should. It's I'm spinning it around to try and see the name on the bell, but if it's an in-runner, that doesn't work. It's a Dr. Madfrost something or other. I will try and get the parts list uploaded to the internet, because I have it, I just need to upload it. So, if it's not there already, I will do it soon. So, in the kit you basically get some wooden washers, which have a 16 by 9 bolt pattern, or 16mm by 19mm, between the holes on the front of the plane to get the screws in. They're kind of hard to see, mostly because trying to focus this damn thing is a pain. So I tried to attempt to make my own by hand, and it was a massive mistake, and I went to bed very annoyed. But the next day I was regenerated and I had a better idea. And that better idea was 3D printing. So first of all I made this washer. So it's just, I'm not sure what the outer diameter is, it's basically just a little bit bigger than the holes it needs. So it's basically just an 8mm centre hole with the 19mm holes around it to act like a washer. And my idea is, when I put 8mm, is because I actually had one 8mm screw, because there's a 7mm in the front of the plane, because it has no holes for the motor to attach it to. I'm not sure if I've actually said that or not yet, that's why we're having to do this exercise. So I was going to have that sort of bolted on the front, and then I decided, well, if you're 3D printing it, instead of just using the router we've got that's digital controlled, cuts out of wood, why not actually make something like this? So it's based off the same design, but instead of a hole in the middle, it's got like a push through. 8mm again. So basically what I did is I drilled the front of the plane out 8mm, pushed that through the centre hole, made sure the holes were roughly where I wanted it, because I wanted the motor wire to come out the bottom, or the top. The top, that's the one. It's one of the two, it's 50-50. So I drilled the holes properly. Had to drill them slightly off centre because I'd already drilled some other holes and completely mucked them up. And then what I basically did is I put this through the back with screws to line it up, and then with the holes that were no good, I actually dropped a little bit of thick Zap super glue, not sponsored but I wish they would, in, just to hold it in place, so we're not trying to fight to get a screw through this and then into a motor and everything lining up and pains in the arse. So that was great. So that was now just stuck on, and then I just bolted the motor on. Easy as that. It is quite hard to work at the front half of this plane because it's hard to do things. I was actually having to hold it with a big sort of Allen key screwdriver thing, probably this one, just in one of the air holes, just to sort of lock it in place, and then put the bolts from the other side. Probably not the best thing, but because I used a long one, it wasn't actually touching the coils, or whatever you want to call them, inside the motor. So, good news. Hopefully it doesn't sound like I'm actually talking to you from the left hand side. Basically what I've done is, instead of wearing the lavalier mic, I just have it on the desk. So possibly that stuff might be a lot louder, a la Matthew Ogborn with his Blue Yeti, but hopefully it won't be quite as hearing me breathing too loud and things like that. It's not peaking as much. So next we moved on to installing the prop adapter. Now this one isn't like other ones that sort of clamp onto the shaft. It's one with two small grub screws out the side. You can sort of see there. Now to actually get the motor bolted on, I could have either used countersunk screws, but removed a lot of the material holding the motor on, or use proper screws, which I have done. But then the trouble is this shaft wouldn't go, the collet wouldn't go down far enough. So what did we do? We brought out more impressive equipment that I rarely use, which is the lathe, and I just turned down, well, actually, tell a lie, because these are expensive. I actually got my dad to turn down, so although sticking out a little bit further than before, they miss the top of the screws. And what that basically allows is for us to have full proper bolts instead of countersunk ones that are sort of going into the material and reducing how much is there to hold this beast of a motor in place. So yeah, from there it was sort of put away for a little while because things happened and work and things. And I moved on to the wings, which are going to need some refocusing. So the first thing I did was completely cock everything up again and attempt to glue these in with, reaching over into the glue shelf again, Zap Goo, because I read that's what we recommend in the manual. They recommend that for gluing the servos in, not for dealing with this. They recommend 5-minute epoxy. I actually used half an hour, so they're epoxied in, and at the same time I did also epoxy in the control horn for the elevator. And then from there we go, no, actually we stay with the wing. So the wings on the control horns, they actually have a Z bend either end, not like a swivel, which isn't great to be honest. We usually prefer a swivel because there's a bit more adjustment, because I mean these could use a little bit of adjusting, which now I can only do with sub-trim. That's nice. But yeah, so I got them sorted, and then there was sort of like a faffing about. I actually learned in the end that the best way to do this was have it all connected up correctly and then glue the servos in, but you need to make sure that these were hung around. So they did get glued in with the Zap glue. One of these a little bit further over than it should have been, but never mind. So basically all that's left to do on these wings is sort of put a little bit of blob of glue on top of the Savox SH0255 servos we're using in these, and then put a piece of tape over. So the glue and tape just to hold it down, same on both ends, and then that's essentially ready to go, just ready to get plugged in. Oh, and of course, put the stickers on the top of it. So that's that. And then we went back to here. Nothing that exciting actually. I just put the speed controller in, so I soldered that up. This is the, oh I also cut off the shrink wrap to let some air through. So this is the 1900 amp Hobby King SS series. Connecting it to the motor wires was a real pain in the rear, to say the least. And I've actually forgotten to solder on the Castle Creations back. Mostly because I didn't actually have one at that point. I'd let my dad have the one that I was given so that he could get a plane up and running quickly, and he just ordered me a new one that's now ready to be put in. So yeah, that's basically where we're up to with the rifle at the moment. I'm doing everything that's component based first before we actually start like attaching tailplanes and stuff, because at the moment with my work or with like work shifts being strange, I can put, like at the moment I can put this back in the box and store it on the shelf and it's not in anybody's way, it's well protected in foam. As soon as I start sticking the tail on and everything, it can't go back in the box, so I'm doing as much as I can before actually fully assembling it. So yeah, once the back's on, it's time to attach the tail and get the servo set up for that. And then I've got to faff about trying to get a different spinner to fit all on this lot. It needs to be the right diameter but short, so I might need to either possibly order another one of these that's shorter or turn it down, but I'm a little bit on doing that because it's a lot easier to put that in the chuck and then lathe it down on there than to put this little tiny bit in the lathe and then try and take down from the end. It should balance fine, like, because I'm sure there's some people going, well, but what about balancing issues because of the shaft? Well, if there's issues with that, we'll deal with it when we come to it. But with it being done on a lathe, a proper, like, nice lathe that's all calibrated, I suppose, set up properly, it should be fine. It's like if we'd have stuck it in the end of a pillar drill and filed at it, then maybe you have a valid argument. But it was done with the proper tools. I mean, they're made on a CNC lathe, so we can just lathe it down a little bit more. So yeah, I'm excited to fly this, and I have no idea when the camera ran out of its 10 minutes recording, although it was pretty much a load of rambling at the end, so if it cut off, that's probably a good thing. But if there's anything important that did get cut off, or get cut off in the middle of a sentence, I'll record that separately. But yeah, this will get built eventually. As I say, Bixler is my repair plane at the moment. This is my build plane. I like building one and repairing one at the same time, so I don't have too many projects on the go. Once the Bixler's finished, it's Radjet time, and then once this is finished, it's Mini Talon time. I mean, I look at some of the other planes and they're like a day to do, whereas a Mini Talon's going to be ages, but never mind, we'll see how we go. But yes, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please click the like button, it helps me out a lot. Subscribe if you're new, and leave a comment if you have any questions on things. And if I haven't added the rifle parts list, then have a go at me in the comments and it will remind me to do it, because I'm a forgetful sod. So yeah, thank you for watching, see you all in the next one, bye bye.